Hello Year 5, Miss Ryan here. I hope you are all well. It's been great to see so many of you sending in your work to the Year 5 email to do with our compound and complex sentences, as well as our relative clauses and parenthesis. So today we're going to be recapping all of that by looking at a few different sentence games. So let's get into it.
I want to start off with saying a massive thank you to all the children that sent in their work to the Year 5 email over this last week to do with all the work we've been doing in English. So I've only picked out a few of you. If I couldn't fit all the work that has been sent in over the next two slides, but I just picked out a few from every single class. So I've got Ruby from 5W, Imogen from 5T, Noah from 5W, Bryn from 5W, and Lola in 5T. And I've got Mia in 5P, Jacob in 5E, Archie in 5P, and Danny Joe in 5E. So I want to say a massive thank you to all the children that have been sending their work again. I'm going to be awarding these children specifically a Dojo Point for Aspiration for all their hard work. And now let's move on to today's video. So, for the starter task, I want you to spot all the adjectives in this paragraph. So remember, the job of an adjective is to describe someone or something. So, rather than writing down this paragraph, what I would like you to do is just create a list of the adjectives that you find within the paragraph. So it's my turn now. I'm going to read it out to you. As the astronaut was staring out the window, something shot in front of her. There was a bright, glowing scene before her, and it was as blinding as the glowing sun. She had to look away and rub her sore eyes. Carefully, she peered around the corner of the impenetrable window, and her mouth dropped. It was like nothing she had ever seen before. The figure outside the window was a misshapen silver object, floating just beside the colossal rocket. All of a sudden, something popped into view. A gargantuan green figure appeared, with eyes like a vicious tiger on a hunt. So pause video here, write down the adjectives that you find within this paragraph. So it's now your turn, off you go. Welcome back. Hope you've had some time to spot all the adjectives in the paragraph, and now it's time to check through to see if you found them all. So all of the adjectives here are highlighted in black. So these are all the adjectives you should have found. So you've got bright, glowing, glowing again, sore, impenetrable, misshapen, silver, colossal, gargantuan, green, and vicious. Well done if you found all of those adjectives, and now let's move on. So today we're going to recap all the sentence types that we have covered this week, and because you are going to be the expert in writing these sentences. So today we're going to be looking at simple sentences, compound sentences, complex and relative clauses, as well as sometimes looking at some word classes. We might look at parenthesis and parentheses as well, so they might prop up as well this lesson too. Okay, so now to start off with, I want you to think about what are these sentences. So I want you to write just 1 to 8 down your margin and write what type of sentence it is. So whether it's a simple sentence, a compound or complex sentence, whether it's a sentence including a relative clause, or whether it's a sentence including parenthesis or parentheses. So pause the video here and now write down what these sentences are for me. Welcome back. Hope you've had some time to write down what these sentences are, and now it's time to check through. So the first one was a simple sentence. The second one is a complex sentence because we have the subordinating conjunction when. The third one is again another simple sentence. The fourth one, the Earth rotates on its axis and 24 hours is a new day, is a compound sentence joining together with a coordinating conjunction and. The fifth, the sun is a bubbling ball of gas, which is at the centre of our solar system. That is a sentence including a relative clause. The sixth one, there are stars in the sky, but we can only see these clearly at night, is a compound sentence. The seventh one, there is gravity in space, although Bob Lucas can float in the ISS, is a complex sentence with the subordinating conjunction although. And the final one, the moon, orbiting the Earth, influences the waves in the ocean, which is a sentence with parenthesis and parentheses. So well done if you were able to identify each of the different sentences, and now it's time to move on. Now I want to join two simple sentences together, and now these are my two simple sentences. Mars is a red planet. Mars has ice on it. So I am now going to think of a way to connect these two simple sentences together. Now, if I think back all the way to the start of this week, we looked at simple and compound sentences, and I know that I could join two compound sentences together with a coordinating conjunction. So I'm going to start off by making a compound sentence. So Mars is a red planet and Mars has ice on it, joining it together with a coordinated conjunction, one of the fanboys. I could also use a relative pronoun to include a relative clause. So I'm going to have Mars is a red planet, main clause, which has ice on it, with a comma separating the main clause and the relative clause. I could include expanded noun phrases in these sentences and join them together with fronted adverbials. So keep the two sentences separate, but then linking them with fronted adverbials. So I could have Mars is a red, scorching and deadly planet. On Mars, freezing, salty ice has been discovered. So there I've got my expanded noun phrase for the first sentence, joining the sentence together with a fronted adverbial, and again another expanded noun phrase. So now I want you to join two simple sentences together. So here are two short, simple sentences I've created for you. So we have Venus has powerful winds and Venus is encased with poisonous gas. So you could make a compound sentence with them. You could make a complex sentence with them. You could keep the two sentences separate but joining them with a fronted adverbial and adding those expanded noun phrases. Or you could add in a relative clause. So it's completely up to you. Just join the two simple sentences together, and then when we come back to check through what you've created, I'm going to have 3 examples of my own sentences too. So pause video here, it's now your turn. Okay, hope you've had some time to join these two simple sentences together, and now it's time to check through some of the examples that I've created. So I've included a relative clause with parentheses around it. So I've got Venus, which has powerful winds, is encased with poisonous gas. My second sentence example is an expanded noun phrase, and I've joined the two sentences with a fronted adverbial. So Venus has powerful blustering winds. All around it, Venus is encased with deadly poisonous gas. And then my final example is obviously a compound sentence. Venus has powerful winds, yet is encased with poisonous gas. So well done if you've created any sentences that are like mine. And now let's move on. Okay, so here are some simple sentences, and now I want you to drop in an embedded relative clause. So remember, we include extra information about the noun in the sentence. So we need to find the noun in each of these 3 simple sentences. Remember, when we are writing a relative clause, it begins with a relative pronoun, which are listed below, which is who, whose, which, that, when, and where. And this is an example of one I've written. So the sun, comma, which is a giant ball of burning gas, comma, is at the centre of our solar system. So the simple sentences are, space is expanding, Bob Lucas is in the ISS, and stars are in the sky. Pause the video here and I want you to create your own embedded relative clauses about the noun in the sentences. So any extra information you can think about that noun. So it's now your turn, off you go. So now we're going to play a bit of a sentence game called Stretch Your Sentence. So now it's my turn, I'm going to show you my example. So I'm going to start off by thinking who or what my sentence could be about. So I'm going to start writing about Bob Lucas. Now I'm going to think about what Bob Lucas is doing. Well, Bob Lucas is floating because I think he's in space. So when? I'm going to think about how often Bob Lucas floats in the ISS. Well, he does it all the time. So all day, Bob Lucas is floating. All day is a fronted adverbial of time, telling me when something happens. So I need to make sure I put a comma after my fronted adverbial. Now I've got where. So where is he floating? Well, he's floating in the ISS, isn't he? So all day, Bob Lucas is floating in the ISS. And why? Well, why is he floating in the ISS? Why is Bob Lucas in the ISS? Well, what is he? He's an astronaut, isn't he? So all day, Bob Lucas is floating in the ISS because he is an astronaut. So what I would like you to do now is I'd like you to pause the video here and I want you to create your own stretched sentence. So start off with who or what it's about. Think about what that thing or person is doing, when it's doing it, where it's doing it, and why it's doing it. So pause the video here. It's now your turn. Off you go. Okay, welcome back. Hope you've had some time to create your own stretched sentence. And I can't wait to see what you send to the Year 5 email. I'm sure you're going to come up with some fantastic sentences. Okay, so today's to-dos are going to be a little bit different to the normal to-dos we're used to. They're going to be a bit more random and maybe a little bit more fun to do. So you're going to start off with by creating a table of A to Z nouns, verbs and adjectives. So here's my example table. I've started off with A and B for you. And I want you to go from A all the way to Z. So in my nouns, I've got an aardvark, but obviously you could have an apple. You could have an astronaut. Then I have a verb, so a doing word, so argued, and then adjectives, adorable. Then for B, I've got a balloon. I could have a baboon. I could have a berry. I could have, well, anything beginning with B. Then I've got verbs. Begged is the verb I thought of, and then adjectives is bulging. You could have big, but that's really boring, so I didn't put big in. So I've thought about the adjectives I'm using. So for chili 1, or for all chilies to start with, I want you to start here. So all chilies, I want you to start here. Then once you've done that, I want you to try and create a sentence using all the words you've created for that letter. So for example, the adorable aardvark argued with the ant. So there I've created a sentence using the nouns and verbs and adjectives in my A list. Then for chili 3, I want you to link your alphabetical sentences together. The adorable aardvark argued with the ant as the bulging balloon begged them to stop. Now, these sentences will probably not make sense. Obviously, a balloon cannot beg. But it's just a bit of fun, just for you to get used to writing sentences, making sure we're including those nouns and verbs, and we're making them more interesting with adjectives. And then we're linking our sentences together with our subordinate or coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so these are your chili challenges for this lesson. However, if you would like to carry on, I have an extra spicy challenge for you to get on with today as well, if you'd like. You are going to be creating alien sentences. I'm going to give you a photo of an alien. You can create your own if you'd like to. So here is the alien. And I want you to create 3 simple sentences about it. So here are my 3 examples. So the alien has 3 eyes, the alien has a wide smile, and the alien is round. Then once you've written your 3 sentences, I want you to make them more interesting. So including adjectives to describe your nouns, adverbs to describe your verbs, to making them ly endings, making them compound sentences by joining the sentences together, including relative clauses into your sentences, or making them a complex sentence. And so here's my example. So the alien, which has a wide, happy smile, surprisingly has 3 ginormous eyes. So in this sentence, I have got a relative clause surrounded with my parentheses, which are my commas. I have adjectives, which are wide, happy, and ginormous. And I have my adverb there as well to describe my verb. So there is your extra spicy challenge to create your alien sentences. This is only once you have completed your chili challenges. And I can't wait to see all the silly alien sentences you create. I can't wait to see the silly aliens you create. Maybe you could draw the alien that you're describing if it isn't the one that I provided for you. So I can't wait to see all the work you send to the Year 5 email. So this is your extra spicy chili challenge, and these are your normal chili challenges. So good luck, and I can't wait to see all the work you send to the Year 5 email.
I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, where we've looked at all the different sentence types, clauses, and types of punctuation to use in sentences this week. And I can't wait to see what you send into the Year 5 email. Stay safe and have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.